The Broncos have made several splashy free agent moves over the years. We're here to give you our top 5 all-time in Broncos history. Hello from inside the Broncos Media Center. I'm Phil Milani alongside Matt Boyer and Steve Atwater. Let's get the parameters straight here. We're talking about free agent signings the Broncos have made, just the impact that they've made in Denver. Each one of us is going to give you our top 5, and then we're going to battle.
Yeah, let me get my boxing gloves on,
Exactly.
Steve. I'm gonna have some issues with.
Pop our knuckles.
I think I could take. I think I could take Phil. I don't know if I could take Steve.
I posed a question on Twitter yesterday and got a lot of responses. But one thing that I think is clear is our number 1 from all of us.
Yeah, can we just start at 2?
Yeah, well, yeah. Matt, give me your top 5 here.
Just 1 through 5 right now.
1 through 5, read them off.
All right. First off, we got Peyton Manning for obvious reasons. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. Second, DeMarcus Ware, the future Hall of Famer, what he was able to do when he got here in 2014 on. Aqib Talib, Ed McCaffrey, and John Lynch. That's a pretty strong class right there, Steve.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong class. I like it. I like it. Mine is pretty similar to yours.
Here we go. There we go.
Let's go.
Ready?
I'm
All
ready.
right. We got Peyton Manning at the top of the list. And, you know, I'm a defensive guy, so I had to throw John Lynch in there as my second best.
What?
Okay.
Hey, don't question
Hey, we'll
it,
fight.
Matt.
We'll fight in just a
Yes,
second.
we're going to fight in a minute. Third, I got Aqib Talib.
Okay, like that.
Fourth, I have Eddie McCaffrey. And then fifth, I have DeMarcus Ware.
There we go. I like that.
You're okay with that?
You know what?
Okay, let me give you mine, and then we'll hash this out. Okay, number 1, Peyton Manning. Number 2, Ed McCaffrey.
I'm out. I gotta go. I gotta go.
Come on, man. Eddie Mack was a baller now.
Number 3, John Lynch. Number 4, Jake Plummer.
Stop it.
Number 5, DeMarcus Ware.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so let's go through this. Well, first of all, I think that a lot of people have some problems with mine.
Yeah.
So give me your problem, and I'll defend it.
My biggest problem is the fact that you've got Eddie Mack too. Now, Ed McCaffrey, I love Ed McCaffrey. Steve, we love Ed McCaffrey. Eddie Mack is a great person, was a great player here for so many years, but he didn't have the impact on those Super Bowl teams that DeMarcus Ware did. And you can't discount the fact that DeMarcus Ware had a huge impact on the career of Von Miller, Mr. Super Bowl MVP in 20. You remember that game?
I do remember that game.
Okay.
I do remember that game.
Why
are you comparing him just to DeMarcus
Miller
Ware?
Where
did that come from?
Miller turned his because you have him at number 2. I've got Ware at number 2.
Okay, let me tell you about Ed McCaffrey. He played 9 seasons with the Broncos.
9 times.
Great season.
9 seasons.
Great seasons.
462 receptions, 6,200 yards, 46 touchdowns.
That's great.
13.4 yards per reception.
And you remember in the stadium,
great.
Steve, when everybody was like, Eddie. He's one of the most fan-favorite Broncos of all time.
Because they were chanting his name, he should be number 2.
He played here 3 times longer than DeMarcus Ware did.
That's great.
Reliable hands, a go-to wide receiver.
How many Super Bowls did he win?
2
Super
Super Bowls.
With us, and he won one before he got here.
You don't even have him at number 2, Steve.
I have him at number 4.
I'm talking about what he did here. His impact compared to the rest of these guys, he played here longer than any one of those guys, and the impact that he made in Denver, tremendous.
Yeah, now, I agree with that. The only reason I didn't have him higher is because some of the accolades, he didn't get the Pro Bowl. I think he went to 1 Pro Bowl in 1998, but he was a 2-time Super Bowl champ, contributed heavily to those Super Bowl seasons. But I have John Lynch and Aqib Talib ahead of him, because really John Lynch, one of the greatest safeties to ever play the game. You know, I'm a big fan of his. Aqib Talib still playing. Each of his 4 years he was here. He went to the Pro Bowl. He contributed to the Super Bowl victories. He's, you know, in that list of defensive backs who returned interceptions for touchdowns.
Part of one of the best defenses of all time. That 2015 defense was a historic defense.
Can't discredit what Aqib Talib. I think he was going to be number 6 for me. John Lynch, 4 seasons, 4 Pro Bowls.
Yeah, same with Aqib Talib.
Ring of Famer.
You just said yesterday that Pro Bowls don't matter. You can't gauge things on Pro Bowls.
4 seasons, 4 Pro Bowls, 3 interceptions, 9 forced fumbles, 7 sacks, and he helped the Broncos get to AFC Championship.
How many Super Bowls did he get?
I'm with you.
He did not win a Super Bowl.
How many Super Bowl games did he make?
You talking about John?
Yeah. How many did he ever play in the big game with the Broncos?
He can do it all by himself.
Well,
Exactly.
Champ Bailey wasn't the best
do it by
player on his own
himself.
defense.
I think that if John Lynch played on a defense very similar to the no-fly zone,
Sure.
they would have definitely. And if he had Peyton Manning, you know, those type of things. things. That's why I got John Lynch number 3.
The only reason DeMarcus Ware won't be in the Ring of Fame is because he played here for 3 years, and you're not eligible.
And that's important. He only played here for 3 years.
But he had
and I don't want to diminish what DeMarcus Ware did here, but he only had 4 sacks in 10 games his final year.
Yeah.
Only had 4 sacks his last year.
He didn't play in 16 games.
That's another thing.
Matt is
giving
him the number 2 nod because of the leadership and what he left in the locker room with the guys, the impact
that's important. That's why I have him number 5.
Yeah, it's extremely important. But for I got him as my number 5. Guys, definitely on there. He had his greatest years when he was with the Dallas Cowboys. Definitely instrumental in us winning that Super Bowl. Love having him in the building, help develop our younger guys. But just his actual contribution on the football field, it was only really for, I think, a good 2 of those 3 years is really productive on the football field. But, you know, an amazing player.
I have a guy on my list that wasn't even on any of your list, and that's Jake Plummer.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you why I think that Jake Plummer is number 4.
Yeah, tell us this.
Okay.
And Jake, great player, but
he helped with the team during a difficult time. He came onto the Broncos during a transitional period where the Broncos were really trying to figure out how to move on from John Elway. And we had, there was Brian Greasy who tried to get him going. It just didn't quite work until Jake Plummer got here. He made the playoffs 3 times. And let me read off some stats here. In 2004, he had 4,089 yards passing, 27 touchdowns. And at the time, those were franchise records. That's better than any season that John Elway ever had here. Of course, Peyton Manning went on to break that. Yeah. But when Jake Plummer was here, he had a tremendous impact, and he helped them reach that AFC Championship.
How
many great years did he have?
3 years. They made the playoffs 3 times. I'd say he had 3 great years.
Oh. He led the league in interceptions in 2004.
But he helped this team get back to where it was.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I had him a little bit further down on my list. I think I had him at 6 or 7. Definitely made a great contribution in the early 2000s. Was a factor in helping get the quarterback situation stabilized. But when I look at some of these other guys and their contributions to Super Bowls and just winning and that leadership in the building, I had to put some other guys ahead of them. But definitely, again, a great player.
He played the quarterback position. So his impact on the team is greater than any of these other guys other than Peyton Manning. And how often does a free agent like Jake Plummer come along? Quarterbacks don't come along don't hit the free agent market like that and get signed and have the impact that he had. There's obviously a lot of guys that we also forgot that aren't on this list. Some honorable mentions. Alfred Williams, Neil Smith, Phil Romanowski, guys you played
Mark
with.
Schlereth
Stink.
Yes.
Big Al, yep.
Exactly. There's a long tradition here of bringing in free agents and bringing them in to help win Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Your list is still wrong.
All right, let us know if you agree, disagree. Let us know. Hit us up on.
We're gonna go get Phil some help.
Yeah. All right, that's gonna do it for us. For Steve Atwater and Matt Blair, I'm Phil Milani.